Sophia Brennan's knees hit the cold concrete floor of the wine cellar at 2 in the morning. Her hands were shaking so badly she could barely hold the scrub brush. The smell of vomit mixed with expensive wine filled her nose and made her stomach twist. She was 68 years old, and her spine felt like it might snap in half. Strapped to her back with bedsheets tied into knots were her twin grandchildren, Lily and Oliver. They were 18 months old. They were crying. They had been crying for over an hour. The makeshift carrier dug into her shoulders so deeply that blood had soaked through her thin cotton shirt. She could feel it sticking to her skin. Her arthritic fingers were raw and bleeding. The industrial cleaning chemicals had burned away the top layer of skin weeks ago. She had not seen a doctor in over a year. Her chest hurt every time she breathed. She had lost 34 pounds. Her clothes hung off her like rags. This was not supposed to be her life. Sophia had once owned a small bakery in Boston. She had raised her son, Marcus, alone after her husband died. She had worked 16-hour days to put him through college. She had been proud. She had been strong. She had been loved. Now she was invisible. Marcus Brennan had sold his tech startup for $87 million 3 years ago. He had married Veronica 2 years after that. Veronica was beautiful, polished, and cold. She had 2 million followers on social media. She posted pictures of their perfect life every single day. Designer clothes, luxury vacations, #blessed. But no one ever saw Sophia in those pictures. Marcus believed his wife had hired professional staff to run their estate. He paid $8,000 every month for housekeepers, nannies, and cooks. He thought his mother lived in the guest wing, resting comfortably, enjoying her retirement. He had no idea she was sleeping on a yoga mat in the laundry room, 4 hours a night, sometimes less. He had no idea Veronica pocketed every dollar of that household budget, $112,000 over 14 months. All of it is gone. All of it was stolen. He had no idea his mother was dying. Sophia pressed her forehead against the stone floor and tried to catch her breath. The twins were still crying. Her back was on fire. Her vision blurred at the edges. She thought about calling out for help, but she knew better. Veronica had made the rules very clear. If Sophia complained, if she caused trouble, if she embarrassed the family, she would be thrown out. She would lose her son. She would lose her grandchildren. She would have nothing. So she stayed silent, she scrubbed, she suffered. What Sophia did not know was that Veronica had been filming her. A tiny camera hidden in the corner of the wine cellar blinked red in the darkness. Veronica had installed cameras all over the house. She had hundreds of hours of footage showing Sophia stumbling, falling, struggling. She was building a case. She planned to declare Sophia mentally unfit. She planned to have her committed to a state facility. She planned to erase the embarrassment permanently. But what neither of them knew was that Marcus was on his way home, 3 days early. His flight from Singapore had landed 2 hours ago. He was walking through the front door of the estate right now. He was tired. He was eager to see his family. He was about to hear something that would shatter his entire world. A sound, muffled, faint, coming from behind the basement door, a door he did not even know had a lock. Marcus stood in the hallway and listened. The sound came again. It was crying, not the twins, someone older, someone broke. His heart started to pound. He walked toward the basement door and noticed something strange. There was a deadbolt on the outside, a heavy one, the kind you use to lock someone in. His hand closed around the bolt and pulled it back. The metal scraped loudly. He opened the door. The smell hit him first. Chemicals, sweat, something sour and wrong. He flipped the light switch and started down the stairs. What he saw made his breath stop. His mother was lying on the concrete floor. Her face was pressed against the ground. Her hands were stretched out in front of her, red and blistered. The twins were strapped to her back with bedsheets, screaming and soaked in their own urine. A bucket of bloody water sat next to her. Cleaning supplies were scattered everywhere. In the corner, a small red light blinked on a camera he had never seen before. Marcus dropped to his knees beside her. His hands shook as he reached for her shoulders. She flinched, actually flinched, like she expected to be hit. "Mom," he whispered, his voice cracked. "Mom, what happened? What are you doing down here?" She opened her eyes slowly. They were glassy and unfocused. She tried to smile. It was the saddest thing he had ever seen. "I am okay, sweetheart," she whispered. "I was just helping. I wanted to help." He carefully tied the bedsheets and lifted the twins off her back. Their weight had left deep purple bruises across her shoulders. Her shirt was soaked with blood. He laid the babies on a clean blanket he found on a shelf and turned back to his mother. He helped her sit up. She was so light, too light. He could feel every bone in her arms. "Why are you down here?" he asked again. "Where is the staff? Where is Veronica?" Before she could answer, he heard footsteps at the top of the stairs. Veronica appeared in the doorway. She was wearing a white silk blouse and holding shopping bags from stores that cost more than most people made in a month. Her nails were freshly manicured. Her hair was perfect. She looked down at the scene and her eyes widened for just a second. Then her face smoothed into something calm, practiced. "Marcus," she said, her voice was sweet, too sweet. "You are home early. I did not expect you until Thursday." "What is my mother doing in the basement?" His voice was flat, dangerous. Veronica walked down the stairs slowly. She set her shopping bags on a shelf and sighed like she was explaining something to a child. "Your mother insisted on helping around the house," she said. "She said it gave her purpose. I have been begging her to rest, but you know how stubborn she is." Marcus looked at his mother. She was staring at the floor. Her hands were trembling in her lap. She would not meet his eyes. "Mom," he said softly, "is that true?" Sophia opened her mouth. Her lips moved, but no sound came out at first. Finally, she whispered, "I wanted to help." Her voice cracked on the word "wanted," and in that crack Marcus heard everything she was not saying. He turned back to Veronica. She was watching him carefully, waiting to see if he would believe her. He pulled out his phone and opened his banking app. He scrolled to the household account. $8,000, paid every month for 14 months. $112,000 total. He looked up at Veronica. "Where is the staff?" he asked quietly. Her smile faltered, just a little. "They quit," she said quickly. "The last housekeeper stole from us. I have been interviewing replacements." "Did you file a police report?" Silence. "Did you file a complaint with the agency?" More silence. Marcus felt something cold settle in his chest. He looked at his mother again. She was crying now, silent tears running down her hollow cheeks, and he finally understood. She was not tired. She was not stubborn. She was terrified. His phone buzzed in his hand. An email, unknown sender. The subject line made his stomach drop. "You need to see what your wife has been doing." Attached were 47 video files. Marcus locked himself in his office and opened the first video file. The timestamp showed 14 months ago, the day his mother moved in. The camera angle was from the corner of the kitchen. He watched Veronica hand his mother a mop and a bucket. He watched her point to the floor. He watched his mother nod and start cleaning. Nothing unusual, not yet. He opened the second file. 3 days later, Veronica was yelling. Her face was twisted with anger. Sophia had left water spots on a wine glass. Veronica held up the glass and threw it against the wall. It shattered. She told Sophia to clean it up with her bare hands. Marcus watched his mother kneel and pick up the broken pieces. Blood dripped from her fingers onto the white tile. He opened the third file. 1 week later, Veronica was holding a pill bottle, Sophia's blood pressure medication. She shook it in front of Sophia's face and said something Marcus could not hear. Then she walked away. She took the pills with her. Sophia sat down at the kitchen table and put her head in her hands. Marcus felt bile rise in his throat. He kept watching. File after file, week after week, month after month. Veronica forces Sophia to sleep on a yoga mat in the laundry room. Veronica screams at her for moving too slowly. Veronica made her eat expired food from the trash while the rest of the family ate catered meals. Veronica withholding her medication as punishment. Veronica coached the twins to hit Sophia and laughed while she filmed it. The last video was dated 2 days ago. Sophia was sitting on the floor of the laundry room. She was writing in a small notebook. Her handwriting was shaky. Marcus could barely read it, but he made out a few lines. I think she is poisoning my food. I taste bitterness in everything. My vision is blurry. I am so tired. If something happens to me, please tell Marcus I love him. Tell him I never wanted to be a burden. Marcus closed the laptop. His hands were shaking so hard he could barely control them. He wanted to scream. He wanted to destroy something. Instead, he opened his email and read the message from the anonymous sender. Marcus, my name is Claudia. I am Veronica's sister. She did this to our grandmother too. That is why grandmother Clara died in that accident at the care facility. I have proof. Veronica inherited $400,000 after Grandma died. She has done this before, Marcus, and she will do it again. I am sorry I waited so long. I was afraid. But I cannot let her kill your mother. Please stop her. Marcus stood up. His vision tunneled. He walked out of his office and down the hallway. Veronica was in their bedroom. She was sitting on the bed, scrolling through her phone, probably posting another picture of their perfect life. She looked up when he walked in. She smiled. Are you hungry? I can order something for dinner. Marcus did not say anything. He walked to the television and connected his laptop. The first video file started playing. Veronica's smile disappeared. She stood up slowly. Marcus, I can explain. He played the second video, the third, the fourth. Veronica's face went pale. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. She needed structure, Veronica said finally. Her voice was tight, defensive. She was falling apart. I was helping her. Marcus turned to look at her. His voice was so quiet it was almost a whisper. You were torturing her. Veronica's mask cracked. Her eyes flashed with something ugly. Your mother was ruining our reputation, she hissed. Do you know what my friends said when they saw her shuffling around in those rags? I had to do something. Marcus pulled out his phone and dialed 911. Veronica lunged forward and grabbed his wrist. She held up her own phone. On the screen was a document, legal paperwork, his signature at the bottom. If you call them, she said slowly, you will lose everything, including your children. His heart stopped. Marcus stared at the document on Veronica's phone. His signature was at the bottom. He did not remember signing it. He did not even remember seeing it. The date said 6 months ago, March 15th. He scrolled up and read the heading. Guardianship and financial power of attorney. His blood turned to ice. What is this? He whispered. Veronica smiled. It was not a kind smile. It was the smile of someone who had been planning this for a very long time. Insurance, she said simply. If you try to destroy me, Marcus, I will have you declared mentally unfit. I have a psychiatrist ready to testify. I have video evidence of you acting erratically. I have everything I need. And when you are gone, I will have full control of your estate, all $87 million, the house, the business shares, everything. Marcus felt the room tilt. He grabbed the edge of the dresser to steady himself. His mind raced. March 15th, 6 months ago. He had been sick that week, food poisoning. He had spent 2 days in the emergency room. He barely remembered anything. You drugged me, he said. The words came out flat, empty. Veronica shrugged. You signed the papers, that is all that matters. Marcus hit the call button. The operator answered. Before he could speak, the front door burst open downstairs. He heard footsteps, voices. He ended the call and ran to the hallway. 2 police officers were walking in. Behind them was an older man in an expensive suit. Marcus recognized him immediately. Judge Harrison Whitmore, Veronica's father. Veronica ran past Marcus and down the stairs. She threw herself into her father's arms. She was crying, sobbing, her whole body shook. "Daddy, he has been hurting me," she wailed. "He has been abusing me for months. His mother is senile. She is making up lies. He is trying to frame me because he wants a divorce. He does not want to pay me what I deserve." Marcus felt his chest tighten. This was planned, all of it. She had called her father before Marcus even confronted her. She had set the trap, and he had walked right into it. Judge Whitmore looked up at Marcus with cold, calculating eyes. "Is this true, Mr. Brennan?" Before Marcus could answer, another voice cut through the room. "No, it is not." Everyone turned. A man in a gray suit was walking through the front door. Marcus recognized him. Richard Townsend, his lawyer. Marcus had not called him, but somehow he was here. Richard walked up to Judge Whitmore and handed him a folder. "These are recordings of Mrs. Brennan confessing to elder abuse, fraud, and attempted murder. All time-stamped, all legally obtained." Veronica's face went white. Judge Whitmore opened the folder and started reading. His expression did not change. He looked at his daughter, then back at Richard. "This proves nothing," the judge said. "She was under duress. She was being coerced." Richard smiled. It was a sharp smile. "Then perhaps you would like to see this." He pulled out a tablet and pressed play. The video showed Veronica in the kitchen, alone. She was grinding something white into a powder and mixing it into a glass of water. She poured the water into two separate containers, one labeled Marcus, one labeled Sophia. The timestamp was from 3 months ago. "That is a pharmaceutical-grade sedative," Richard said calmly. "We have the medical records. We have prescription bottles. We have the toxicology reports. She has been poisoning both of them, slowly, deliberately. The dosage for Mrs. Sophia Brennan was near lethal." The room went silent. Judge Whitmore's jaw tightened. Veronica started backing toward the door. One of the officers stepped in front of her. She spun around, looking for an escape. There was none. "This is insane," she hissed. "You have no proof, you have nothing." A new voice came from the top of the stairs. Quiet, fragile, but steady. "Yes, we do." Sophia Brennan stood at the landing. She was holding a small USB drive in her shaking hand. Marcus ran to her side. She leaned against him and looked down at Veronica. "I recorded everything," Sophia said. Her voice was stronger now. "Every threat, every moment. I hid cameras in the air vents 6 months ago when I realized what you were doing to me. I was a witness in a federal fraud case 30 years ago. I know how evidence works." She handed the USB drive to one of the officers. "There are over 400 hours of footage on that drive, time-stamped, unedited, legally admissible." Veronica's face crumpled. The mask was gone. All that was left was rage, pure, venomous rage. "You stupid old woman," she snarled. "You ruined everything." The officer took out his handcuffs. Veronica tried to pull away. She screamed. She kicked. It took both officers to restrain her. Judge Whitmore stood frozen, watching his daughter fall apart. Richard turned to the judge. "I have also filed an ethics complaint against you for attempting to obstruct justice. You might want to call your own lawyer." As the officers dragged Veronica toward the door, she twisted around and looked at Marcus. Her eyes were wild, desperate. "The twins are not yours," she screamed. "I made sure of that. You will never know the truth." The door slammed shut. The house went silent. Marcus stood there, his mother leaning against him, his entire world collapsing around him. He did not know if Veronica was lying. He did not know if his children were really his. He did not know anything anymore, except that he had almost lost the one person who had always loved him, and he had been too blind to see it. Marcus sat in the hospital waiting room with his head in his hands. Sophia had collapsed an hour after the police took Veronica away. The ambulance had rushed her to the emergency room. The doctors were running tests. Marcus had not moved from his chair since they wheeled her through the double doors. Richard sat next to him. He did not say anything, he just sat there, waiting. Finally, a doctor came out. She was young, with tired eyes and a clipboard tucked under her arm. She looked at Marcus and her expression softened. "Mr. Brennan." Marcus stood up, his legs felt weak. "How is she?" The doctor sighed. "Your mother is stable, but she is very sick. Severe malnutrition, internal bleeding from untreated ulcers, dangerous levels of sedatives in her bloodstream. Another week and she would not have made it." Marcus felt his knees buckle. Richard caught him. The doctor continued. "We are going to keep her here for at least 2 weeks. She needs IV fluids, medication, and rest. A lot of rest, but she is strong. She will recover." Marcus nodded. He could not speak. The doctor patted his shoulder and walked away. He sat back down and put his face in his hands. Richard handed him an envelope. "The paternity results," Richard said quietly. "They were expedited." Marcus stared at the envelope. He did not want to open it. He did not want to know. But he had to. He tore it open and pulled out the paper. His hands were shaking so badly he could barely read the words. Probability of paternity, 99.9%. The twins were his. Veronica had lied. One last weapon, one last attempt to destroy him. Marcus folded the paper and put it back in the envelope. He felt nothing. Not relief, not joy, just emptiness. Richard stood up. Veronica was denied bail. The judge recused himself from all related cases. He is under investigation. The media is already picking up the story. You need to prepare yourself. Marcus nodded. He did not care about the media. He did not care about Veronica. He did not care about anything except the woman lying in a hospital bed down the hall. The woman who had sacrificed everything for him. The woman he had failed. 3 days later, Veronica made a phone call from jail. She called a man named Dr. Reeves. She said 7 words. "Activate the contingency plan. He will pay." No one knew what it meant. Not yet. 3 months passed. Sophia moved into the guest wing. Marcus had it renovated into a full suite with medical equipment, a private nurse, and a therapist who visited twice a week. She gained 22 pounds. Her smile came back, slowly, carefully, like something fragile learning to exist again. Marcus worked from home now. He spent every morning with the twins, every afternoon with H. His mother. He learned how to cook, he learned how to listen, he learned how to see. One Tuesday morning, a certified letter arrived. Marcus opened it at the kitchen table. Sophia was making tea. She glanced over at him and saw his face go pale. "What is it?" Marcus read the letter twice. Then he handed it to her. It was from a forensic psychiatrist named Dr. Reeves. The letter contained a psychiatric evaluation of Veronica. It claimed she suffered from delusional protective disorder. It claimed all her actions were meant to help the family. It claimed she was not guilty by reason of insanity. Sophia set down her teacup. Can she do that? Marcus called Richard. Richard arrived an hour later with his own folder. He laid it on the table and opened it. "Financial records," Richard said. "Veronica purchased those sedatives 3 months before your mother moved in. She researched untraceable poisons and how to induce dementia symptoms a full year before. This was premeditated. The insanity defense will not work." 2 weeks later, Veronica was convicted on all counts: elder abuse, attempted murder, fraud, falsifying legal documents. The judge gave her 25 years without parole. On a quiet Sunday morning, Sophia stood in the kitchen baking cookies with Lily and Oliver. Flour covered the counters. Laughter filled the air. Marcus stood in the doorway watching. Sophia turned and saw him. She smiled. "You did not just save my life," she said softly. "You saw me when I had become invisible. That is the greatest gift you could ever give." Marcus walked over and hugged her. Outside, the sun rose over the estate. And for the first time in 14 months, the house felt like a home. Sometimes the people we love most suffer in silence, not because they are weak, but because their love makes them invisible. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And ask yourself, who in your life have you stopped seeing?